You're listening to RC Flightcast podcast with Frank Betts. Well, hey there, and welcome back to RC Flightcast podcast, where we talk all things radio control flight, from foam board park flyers to 3D printed EDF jets. I'm your host, Frank, and today we're going to tackle one of the first big questions every RC pilot faces, and that, of course, is where the heck do I buy my planes and gear? And I still kind of fight with that idea because I'm always looking for something new, someplace else to go. So whether you're just getting into the hobby, or you've been flying since glow fuel was king, that's me. Finding a solid, trustworthy source for RC gear is half the battle. And you don't want to throw money at junk or get stuck waiting 3 months for a servo that ends up DOA. I've had that happen once and once only. Bite me once, as the saying goes. So for the next 20 minutes or so, give or take, I'll walk you through the top places to buy planes, radios, receivers, servos, and accessories, from big-name vendors to lesser-known gems. So let's dig in. And I'm going to kind of preface this by I get on all kinds of different forums. I'm like a forum junkie, I guess. And I'm always taking notes, noticing what people talk about or ask questions about. And so some of these places I'm going to mention, I've dealt with. Some of them I haven't. But I've had really good luck. Whoops. I got a cat right here under my feet. Sorry about that. Yeah. I've dealt with some of them and always had good luck. So I'm kind of picky about who I choose. So anyway, and these ones, like I said, I'm going to mention are ones that I've heard about on different forums, and, the yays and the nays on them, as far as people talking about them. So anyway, here we go. And this is not necessarily in, best to worst. It's just I got a list here. I got a little crappy piece of paperwork with crappy handwriting. I take my notes. So here we go. Motion RC is the first one. And based right here in the U.S., Motion RC has built a reputation for high-quality models, especially EDF jets, warbirds, and scale aircraft. They carry Free Ring, Flightline, Skinetic, and Rock Hobby brands. And some of the nicest plug-and-play foam aircraft out there. What I like about Motion RC is their customer service. And if anything arrives damaged or missing, they don't jerk you around. They fix it. They've also got a growing lineup of Admiral brand lipos and smart chargers. I have bought lipos from them, and I've had real good luck. For radio gear, they don't stock Futaba or Fly Sky, but they do carry receivers for their bundled transmitters. And so for planes, excellent. For radios, look elsewhere. Number 2, Horizon Hobby. They've been around for a long time, and I've bought quite a few things from them way back in the day. This is one of the giants in the RC world. Horizon Hobby owns brands like E-Flight, Spectrum, Hangar 9, and Blade. And they carry a huge selection of bind and fly models, especially if you're into the Spectrum radios. And their Spectrum BNF, aka bind and fly lineup, is really beginner friendly. Plug in a battery, bind your DXE or NX series radio, and you are up and flying. They've also got trainers like the Apprentice STS and micros like the UMX Turbo Timber. Good solid options, and their website is well organized with lots of manuals and videos. They, just know that Horizon stuff can be pricey, and you're locked into the Spectrum ecosystem unless you're buying kits or plug-and-play models. And, yeah, they're pretty slick. Ooh, excuse me. I got my little kitty cat sitting next to me, and I'm kind of allergic. So, now you got Value Hobby. Now, I've dealt with these guys. It's a good outfit. So, let's swing on over to the budget side. Value Hobby is based in Illinois, and they've got a loyal following for a reason. Solid gear and low prices. And if you're scratch building or flying foam board, this place is gold. And that is so true. They stock Skywalker ESCs, Power HD servos, and budget motors that actually hold up. Also a great source for things like prop adapters, linkages, and motor mounts. Their LiPo selection is basic but affordable. No flashy branding, just usable packs. And one warning, they're not as slick or polished as Motion or Horizon, and customer service can be hit and miss. But if you know what you're looking for, they're a great resource. When I was getting back into it, I used them for a lot of my little accessories and what have you there. And what is it, $5, I think, shipping? I'm over here in Michigan, and they're out of Illinois, and they're pretty darn quick at getting your stuff to you. And you get, what you're looking for. So, and I've been using these guys forever for my LiPos. I like their prices. The LiPos are good to me. I've never had any problems with them. So that's my go-to for those little accessories like that. And you got another one here called Buddy RC. It's US-based vendor, worth checking out. Formerly known for carrying rotor geeks and Scorpion motors. They now focus on general RC and FPV gear. They carry dual-branded LiPos, chargers, and a growing selection of servos and power accessories. The neat thing with Buddy RC is they sometimes carry specialty items like unique props or tools you won't see elsewhere. And they're not as big as the others, but for accessories and unique parts, Buddy RC can fill in the gaps. And I've never dealt with these fine folks. So, I don't know. And here we go. Everybody I check out on forums or talk to or whatever goes for these Banggood, and AliExpress. Now, I've come so close to ordering from them, but I just don't like them. I don't like the wait. So hey, so it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. These two. You can get cheap RC stuff there, yes. Should you? Sometimes. Here's the real deal. You can score killer prices on motors, ESCs, propellers, servos, and even entire airframes if you're willing to wait 2 to 4 weeks for shipping. Brands like Race Star, Sunny Sky, Fly Sky, Emax are common on these sites, and yes, a lot of YouTubers swear by this stuff. But quality can vary. One batch of 9G servos might be perfect. The next junk returns, forget about it. So use Banggood and AliExpress when you're testing or building cheap. So don't rely on them for mission critical stuff. And I will say Sunny Sky, they're, like I said, I'm located in Michigan, and they have an outlet out of Indiana. Great prices. They kind of remind me of the little Blue Wonder motor, the ones I usually get from them. They're like about between $14 and $16. And I order from them, and less than a week, if that, my order shows up. And I've ordered from them quite a bit. Sunny Sky. Good place. Never had any problem with them. And here we go. Amazon. I've ordered quite a bit from them. I'm so spoiled with Amazon. You need something, and sometimes the next day the stuff shows up, which makes it kind of nice. I mean, I appreciate my local hobby shop, which is probably about, 12 miles from me. But when you go in there, I don't know, they just stand around staring at you, just waiting for you to buy something, or they just keep getting on you about, hey, what do you want? What are you looking for? What do you need? And I just like to look around sometimes. Sometimes I feel like somebody getting ready to steal something or something, shoplift or whatever. I mean, I hate that. I mean, it's a nice place, nice people there, but, I go there if I need something out of the ordinary kind of fast. But, Amazon, believe it or not, Amazon can be a decent RC source, especially for generic items like servo extension cables, XT60 connectors, heat shrink tubing, zip ties, and LiPo storage bags. And you'll also find some basic RC planes, kits, and transmitters, usually Fly Sky i6 Radio Master or cheap brushless setups. Yep, that's where I got my Fly Sky i6 for $60. Got that and the transmitter. Using that while my Futaba was 6 weeks in the shop. And it turned out to be a darn fine radio. I'm going to keep using it. So, brushless motors. You can get stuff off of Amazon and compare it to other places there. Might cost you a couple extra bucks or something, but heck, you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to get it the next day or, 2 days down the line. And that's, if you're on the Amazon Prime club or whatever that is. My girlfriend's in that, so I use the heck out of them. So, use Amazon when you're in a pinch or need something fast, with the Prime shipping. But steer clear of overpriced no-name gear or, overly generic listings because, thing of it is you order something off of Amazon and then you go someplace else, it might be cheaper, but then they're going to nail you for shipping and then it all goes out the window. So, I don't know. I split the difference and just run Amazon. So then, of course, you've got eBay. I actually just ordered a ducted fan motor for a 3D plane I'm building right now, and we'll see how that goes. But, eBay can be a gold mine or a dumpster fire, depending on the day. Honestly, I've been getting stuff from them for years and years and years. I've never had a problem with them. If you see it online and you get it, it looks just like what I was, expecting. And I've just never had any problem. They're pretty good on shipping, sometimes free shipping, but then again, they might have gotten that product pretty cheap and then they just say free shipping, but you're actually paying, it's hidden in there somewhere, It's 2025, ain't nothing free. One way or another. Yeah. If you're hunting discontinued gear, old school Futaba receivers like I just bought. I bought me yet another one. Them things used to be $100 a piece back in the day, and I got mine for $60. You can find them. They're out there. You can get vintage kits, or out of production park flyers. eBay's your friend. But it's also where people try to sell $30 radios for $120 because they're rare. you need to do your homework. But, I've never had a problem with eBay. I know there's some people out there with some pretty good horror stories, but, you really check into them and see how long they've been at it and how people react, to their service and everything, and you just go from there. But, hey, just use filters, look at seller ratings and don't get emotional on auctions. Always price compare before you click buy now. And, yeah. So then you've got your local hobby shops, aka LHS. Yeah, this one's hit or miss in 2025, like I said a little bit earlier at my local hobby shop. But a lot of brick and mortar hobby shops have closed, but if you've got a good one near you, support them. And I do. Like I say, I go in there on a Saturday or something, but I swear to God, them guys they just stand around like vultures. They can't compete with Chinese pricing, but they offer instant help, local advice, maybe even a flying buddy or, club connection, which is true. I found some real gems at shops tucked away in the back of strip malls. Kits from the 90s, quality balsa, and people who know their stuff. Now, I haven't bought kits, or balsa stuff in many years. I am not a builder. You give me a, piece of foam board or an ARF or something like that, and I'm good to go. My dad used to build it all back in the day. And he didn't like to fly. He liked watching me fly. And one day, out of the blue, he said, if you crash that plane one more time, I'm done. And, yep. Eventually, I got a little cocky with that plane. It was a scratch built. out of RC Modeler. Beautiful plane. And I wrapped it around a telephone booth over by the school. And yeah, he looked at me and goes, "That's it." And he was serious. From there on out, I had to buy, ready-made stuff, and that ain't cheap. Now you got Facebook Marketplace and RC Groups Classified. I've kind of looked around on Facebook Marketplace and RC Groups Classified, and I don't know, I go cross-eyed sometimes because you never know what you're getting into with those setups. I mean, I don't know. You look at pictures of something you're wanting to buy or whatever. I don't know. It's a pig in a poke, but, you buy it, and good luck trying to get something corrected if it's not right. But, hey, if you're on Facebook, check Marketplace for local deals. RC folks are always upgrading gear and selling off old stuff. Radios, lipos, chargers, you name it. And you can save big, especially on used transmitters and older planes, which is true. I mean, I've been actually nosing around on there for another 3D printer. I want something just a little bit bigger. And I don't know. I look on there and the pictures they have and the way they describe it, I just keep thinking it's probably just some worn out piece of equipment or whatever. But then again, some people, they get a 3D printer, they build a few things, get a little excited, and next thing you know, it just sits over there, collecting dust. So, roll the dice on something like that. And then you got the rcgroups.com, which, wow, I've been hanging around that for since the early 2000s, mid 2000s. Got head deep into those different forms. That's where I found the flat printer back in the day. It's a CNC machine. Excuse me. It's kind of crude, but that was my first machine where I could actually draw something up on a CAD program and send it over to the CNC machine, and I'd take a 2-foot by 4-foot piece of blue foam, and about 20 minutes later, I used SketchUp. That's what it was, SketchUp back in the day. It was free. And flat printer people made an app that would link SketchUp with their flat printer, so you could draw up whatever it is you want, hit print, it'd send it over to the flat printer, and like I said, that thing would go nuts, and about 20 minutes later, you'd have a profile plane. You punch it out of the foam and hot glue it together, and you're good to go. I mean, I for about a year, I wore that poor machine out. It got to where it was just, you couldn't trust it. You'd be printing something out nice and neat, and it would zig instead of zag and just tear up everything. Pretty soon, I wound up tossing the whole thing in the dumpster. I just got tired of piecing that thing back together. But anyway, fast forward to now. I got another CNC machine I bought commercially, and it's way, way, way better than what that one was. Only problem is with the one I got now, you can only cut out an 18 by 18 cutting area. So if you go to make a scratch-built plane or something, instead of building the whole wing, you got to half it. So, a left wing and a right wing, and then you hot glue them together. And same thing with the fuselage. It's, you got to get used to it, but it works. I mean, I'm still building these stupid little 2D planes and tossing my cheap gear on it and fly it around and crash it and, rip that stuff off the torn up plane and go print another one out. I mean, just as fast as you can go. But, yeah, that's a whole different story, though. Let's see here. Number 10 is specialty stores. And, a few niche places you might not know about, like Get FPV, first-person view, and Race Day quads for FPV gear and micro components. You got Servo City for linkages, aluminum hardware, and robotic gear, or robotics grade gear. Ready-made RC for FPV, wings and custom parts. And then you got 3DLabprint.com for STL files to print your own plane. I got a Cub, J3 Cub, that they were giving away for free. And I've just about got it printed up on my 3D printer. That's a nice little plane. So if you're into building 3D printing or modding, these shops are worth checking out. That FPV, I hear a lot about that. They're pretty cheap. For less than $100, you can get a camera on the front of your plane and put on these goggles, and then you can sit there and, as if you're sitting in the front seat of that plane, and you just go fly, and it's crazy. I don't know. It's kind of like drones, where you can see what's going on as it happens, and I don't know. That's beyond me. Too much gadgets to go wrong. Okay, so got a quick tip before you buy. And always check shipping time and location. Domestic versus overseas makes a big difference. And return policy, can you return DOA gear without a fight? Always check reviews both on the site and on YouTube. And compatibility, double check connectors, receiver protocols, and voltages. And so as a wrap up, there you go. 10 solid options for buying RC gear, from brand name vendors to back alley bargains. Hello. Now remember, the key is buying smart, not just cheap. Know what you're getting, check your specs. Don't be afraid to spend a few extra bucks if it saves you time or frustration. And hey, if you've got a favorite RC vendor I didn't mention, shoot me an email at frontcentermusician@gmail.com. And I'll check them out for a future episode. So until next time, I'm Frank, and you've been listening to RC Flightcast. So keep your lipos charged, your wings level, and your eyes on the sky. See ya.